Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I would like to introduce everyone to this new timepiece that I got. This is the Seiko 5328-5000. It's yet another extremely rare Seiko that I picked up recently with a very interesting story behind it. So I want to just take some time to go over this watch. So yeah, after diving deep into the world of vintage Seikos and after acquiring my Lord Matic here and then the King Seiko here, I was pretty satisfied. It was like kind of the last two high-end calibers made by the two divisions, Suwa and Daini, prior to the quartz revolution. So, you know, traditional watchmaking was fading away by the 80s. I think the last automatic watch was found in 1980s Volume 1 catalog. And then afterwards, everything went quartz. It wasn't until 1992 when Seiko reintroduced mechanical watches with the caliber 68 and caliber 4S. It was actually, you can see it in the 1993 Volume 1 catalog. So, you know, as with many watch collectors, one aspect is like chasing down a birth year watch, which has this romantic feel to it. However, as like an 80s baby, like I was born in 86, there weren't that many options from Seiko. If I wanted a mechanical watch, like I don't have anything against quartz, but there's just something neat about having like a mechanical heart beating away since the year my life started to tick away, basically. There's just something charming compared to like a quartz piece that basically got its heart replaced every, 5 to 10 years. So I started to scope out other brands such as Cartier, since Seiko went all quartz in the 80s. The problem I ran into is, one is the price of Swiss watches, and second is the difficulty in matching serial code with the year of production. I think like the main issue with birth year watches, when you really dig deep into it, is you realize like the movement is made in 1 year and the case might be made in another year, and then finally it's marketed and sold in a third different year. So yeah, nonetheless, like I kept my eye open, kept looking. One day while I was browsing around Plus 9 Time, I came across this article about this particular watch. So this is a rare mechanical watch made by Seiko in the 80s for only 1 year of production. This is the Seiko 5338. I don't know if I can focus correctly here. Ooh, all right, there you go. Yeah. So this is truly like a unique and rare movement from Seiko. Why? Well, if you take a closer look at the movement, I'll add in pictures. You see anything that's a little bit out of place? Yeah, that's right. That's a Swiss movement made by Seiko. That's right, a Swiss movement under the house of Seiko. Some say that's heresy. So yeah, the majority of the information I have is from Plus 9 Time, and I'll link that in the description below. So this is caliber 5328. It's a 17 jewel manual winding movement with a sub-second at 6, and the movement diameter is only 19.7 millimeter. Yeah. So it's an extremely small movement, which kind of made it perfect to be placed in both men's and ladies models. And when you look at the catalog, you can see there is basically like a small and large variant of the different models, except for this one, the rectangular one. I think that's just the one size with two different dial configuration. This is the one with the stick marker and sword hand. The other one has Arabic numeral and Breguet style hands, which is also very neat. The actual movement, it's a pretty basic movement, and when you look at the MSRP back in the 80s, which is 25,000 yen, I say this movement was definitely not like created to be a high level caliber. With some amazing investigative work from Plus Nighttime, you can see from the pictures on his article, the caliber 5328 hides a very small logo of its Swiss origin. The FHF logo, plus that little number, which is 138001, that basically uncovered its origin. It's a Swiss movement made by FHF, which was one of the founder of Bosch SA back in 1928. And in 1985, it merged with ETA, which is also the same year this movement was made. It was only like 3.2 millimeter thick. It ran at 3 Hertz and had 47 hours of power reserve. So yeah, if you guys know how to decode Seiko serial number, let me see if I can get a good focus. Yeah, you'll see that this is made in 1985. However, when you look at the vintage catalog, you'll see that this watch was listed in the 1987 catalog. So unfortunately, I don't have the original purchase receipt. So somewhere along 1985 to 1987, this watch was either in like production or marketing limbo. I'm just gonna chalk up to this watch being born sometime in 1986, which kind of neatly fits my own selfish story. Yeah, so just as a side note, there were 2 other mechanical movements made by Seiko in the 80s, the caliber 63 and the caliber 70. These 2 movements, they were never really seen in the 80s catalog, so I can't really verify these watches housing these movements, whether like certain aspects were original or Franken. But from my research, like those workhorse movements were not really made in Japan, but rather other countries for the international market. Maybe like some of the watch factory didn't fully transition to quartz. I know the 6306 was in the 1980s volume 1 catalog, but outside of that, if anyone has any historical records of caliber 63 or 70 showing up in either JDM or international catalog, you can let me know in the comment. That would be nice to know. So this watch in particular, the 5328-5000, as you can see, is a pretty small watch. Its diameter is only 26.5 millimeter. Lug to lug is still okay at 42.5, and its height or thickness is 7 millimeters. This square watch wears closer to a 30 millimeter round watch, which is still very, very small for today's men watch standards. And like this was my smallest watch. This wore kind of like a 35 millimeter round watch, and this is even smaller. This one wears more like a 38 round watch, and this is more like a 40. So yeah, this watch also doesn't really have a date function, so it's kind of just like a true dress watch. And when you see it on my wrist is 7.5, and this is quite small, although because of this round square shape, it's still sort of be okay. But yeah, I definitely don't think I can wear this too often. So yeah, it's probably not going to be in my core collection, but I think I'll hold on to it given its interesting history in Seiko's horological journey. So I'll just put up like a little chart of some of the specs. A few things that I don't really like is this is a 17mm lug width, so finding straps I had to like get a custom one for this one. The one it came with was very old and deteriorated. There's very little minimal text, which I do enjoy. It's just the Seiko. Apply stick markers, it's nice. Oh yeah, I think, let me see. So this is the instruction manual that came with this. It's pretty neat. It's all in Japanese, but there's interesting little graphics of how to take care of the watch. Yeah, so there is some English. I didn't even see the English part. Okay, yeah, let me see. Does it have hacking seconds? I didn't even check. Let's see. Nope, it does not have hacking seconds. The crown is actually pretty nice. Like winding it, there's like a definite tactile feel to it. Yeah, so the winding feels nice. I don't believe this has any water resistance. Yeah, I think if it did, it usually will say it on the back. So no water resistant, no date, and quite small, so not really something I would wear, but it's such an interesting timepiece that I had to get it, and it was super cheap. Like you can find these on, I got mine on Yahoo Auctions, Japan, and this was 70 US dollars. Yeah. So I think I'll leave everything here. Hope you enjoyed the video and stay tuned. Bye.